Good morning, friends. Happy Dance Day. Today for our Reader's Theater, we're going to be reading for page number 3, and we're going to be practicing the part of the narrator. There are 3 narrators in this story, but we're going to practice all the parts. On this page, the narrator has the most lines, so it's a very important part of the play. After we practice reading what the narrator is saying, we're going to be practicing reading this with a teacher voice, just like a teacher would read a book. That's the job of the narrator. Let's take a look at the narrator's lines together first, and then we'll practice reading with a teacher voice. The narrator has lots of lines on this page. The narrator has 5 lines, and the last line is really big. But we'll go through them one at a time to make sure that we know what we're reading. Let's look at the first line together. We start out with 2 popcorn words in this line. And then we have a word, and I'll give you a couple of clues on this word. We start the word with a digraph, that ch sound. And this word is an object that is important in this story. So think about this story and think about something that starts with a ch. Then we have some more popcorn words. Remember, this one we can read by just taking the O off. We read it the same way. Then when we get to this word, this is a word we can chunk because it has a popcorn word inside of it. So if you stretch those 2 beginning sounds and chunk the ending, you'll be able to figure out this word here. This one is a little bit tricky, and it looks a little tricky in our play. At the beginning, we're just going to blend these 2 sounds together. Then we're going to say this sound on its own. And then you can read the ending part by doing a little bit of stretching. Remember, CK stands together to make one sound. Now, you might notice, if you figured out what this says, that it's going to make a sound word. So when we're reading it, we're going to try to make the sound like this. Rack. Like a cracking sound. Next, we have another popcorn word. This is a magic E word, so O is going to say its name, and E will say nothing. And this is another chunking word. It doesn't have a popcorn word in it, but instead it has the name of one of your specials. This is the special that Miss Cav teaches. So you can do a little bit of stretching and chunking here. Go ahead and try the first line on your own. And let's try reading it together using a teacher voice. Remember, we don't want to read too slow, but we also don't want to read too fast. We want to make sure that the listener can understand our voice. But the chair was too small. Crack! It broke apart. Very good. Let's look at the next line together. We're going to look at this line first. Now, right away, we have one of those vocabulary words that we talked about on Monday. This is our main character's name. So that is going to be the first word. I'll draw a little squiggly line under that. Next, we have a word that we can chunk off the ending. So let's use my sticky paper to cover up that ending. Go ahead and stretch the beginning of this word on your own. We have 4 sounds. Let's try it together. Jump. Now we'll add the ending. Jumped, jumped, jumped. Then we have popcorn word, popcorn word. This word I'll give you a few clues on. This word is a size. It also has a bossy R in the middle. And the G is going to make a J sound. And E is going to say nothing. So we're going to stretch this word like this. Large. Large. And then we end the sentence with A stretching word, 3 letters, 3 regular sounds. Go ahead and try reading that line on your own. And let's try reading it together. Goldilocks jumped on the large bed. Excellent. Let's take a look at the next line together. We're starting the next line with a popcorn word here. This has the same ending as before, so let's chunk off that ending. I'm also going to cover up one of the P's because we really don't hear it at the beginning. So let's figure out the beginning first. Go ahead and stretch those 3 sounds, just the regular sounds here. Let's try it together. Hop, hop. Now we'll add the ending. Hopped, hopped. Then we have a popcorn word here. Popcorn word here. This is a little bit tricky. We're going to hear this popcorn word at the beginning. But your clue is, if this was the word large, this is another size that starts with this popcorn word. And then we have that same stretching word at the end. So if you remember what we read here, you won't have to stretch it here, but you can if you forgot. Go ahead and try that second sentence on your own. And let's try it together. She hopped on the medium bed. Excellent. Let's see what happens next. Let's look at the next line together. We start with a popcorn word. Next, we can stretch this word. Y is going to say nothing. It's a vowel team. And A is going to say its name. So it's just a word with 2 sounds that we can stretch. Then we have a popcorn word here, popcorn word here, popcorn word here. This is a chunking word. We already used it. So if you remember what we read up here, you can figure that one out, or you can chunk it. And that word is coming again. We've now read it 3 times. If you need to stretch it, you can, but if you remember it, you can read it too. Try reading that line on your own. And let's try it together using a teacher voice. She lay down on the small bed. Excellent. Now the last line on this page is very, very long, but we'll work on it together so we know what it says before we try reading it. All right, let's look at the first word together. The first word has a popcorn word inside of it. And then the ending chunk has a magic E. And you can, and when you take the E off, it even has another popcorn word here. Should have noticed that first. So you can stick those 2 popcorn words together. That will be a little bit easier to read this word. Then we have a popcorn word here. This one we can stick E and W together to say ew, like if something's gross. And K is going to say nothing. So you can kind of stretch and chunk this one. N, ew, new. Popcorn word here. There's our vocabulary word, our character name again. Popcorn word here. This is a word with 4 letters and 4 sounds that you can just stretch the regular sounds on. And this one you can stretch a little bit too. The only thing you have to pay attention to here is it has a vowel team, so E is going to say its name in the middle, and we're only going to hear one of those E sounds. Let's just try reading this first sentence. Since this last line has 3 sentences, let's break it apart. So go ahead and try reading this first sentence on your own. And let's try reading it together. Before she knew it, Goldilocks was fast asleep. Excellent. Let's look at the next part of the sentence together. We're starting with a popcorn word here. This word has a popcorn word inside of it. It's a chunking word. And then we can just add these 2 sounds to the end. This word here has a vowel team. So E is going to say its name, and A is going to say nothing. Then we have a popcorn word here. And then this is the other character. This was Goldilocks. So this is a number and an animal. It's the other character. Then we have a popcorn word here. A chunking word, two popcorn words stuck together here. Another popcorn word here. And then when we stretch this word, O and U are going to make that ow sound like we practiced with Miss Brandy. And E is going to say nothing. Go ahead and try reading that sentence on your own. Oh, I'm sorry, I was pointing to the wrong sentence. This sentence on your own. And let's try reading it together. She didn't hear the 3 bears come into the house. One more sentence in this last line. Now we have a popcorn word here. This word we already used. This word we already used. So we kind of have a pattern here. I'll do squiggly lines under these two. We have a popcorn word here. When we stretch this word, A-L sounds more like a short O. So I would try stretching it with those 3 sounds. We have that chunking word, 2 popcorn words stuck together here. Popcorn word here. And the last word has a popcorn word in it. And your clue on this word is it's a room in your house. So go ahead and try reading that very last sentence of this line. And let's try it together. She didn't hear them walk into the kitchen. Excellent job. Now we're going to put the whole beginning of the play together. Remember, you know that it's your turn to read when you see that star pop up above my head. Here we go. But the chair was too small. Crack! It broke apart. I'm so sleepy. I think I'll take a little nap. No one will mind if I sleep just a bit. Goldilocks jumped on the large bed. This bed is too hard. She hopped on the medium bed. This bed is too soft. She lay down on the small bed. This bed is just right. Before she knew it, Goldilocks was fast asleep. She didn't hear the 3 bears come into the house. She didn't hear them walk into the kitchen. Someone's been eating my porridge. Someone's been eating my porridge. Someone's been eating my porridge, and they ate it all up. Great job practicing reading for the narrator today. Tomorrow we will read the end of the play with Miss Brandy and we'll practice our bear voices.